morning, people of the internet, and welcome to a new video where we will dive into some weird, or confusing in this case, internet shenanigans. And it will be very confusing because today we're talking about the clean girl aesthetic trend thing going on TikTok and maybe also other apps, I don't know. Anyhow, I don't quite understand why showering and taking care of yourself suddenly needs to be a trend. Maybe it is not even about that, I don't know, because I feel like that's something that everyone just is trying to do and it's not really a trend. But we'll get into it and we'll figure out what it's about. Today we are joined by my pride flag because I felt like this was an empty space and it is a closet, so it's now my gay closet. Grab your tea and your yarn and your sketchbook and whatever you do while watching YouTube, because you'll need it. If you just simply choose to exist, it's also great. But before we get started, I'm putting myself through art school and that's hard, but that's also fun and I'm learning a lot, which is why I'm there. But you can help me a lot with that by subscribing and watching my videos if you like them. If you don't like them, you don't have to do that, of course. That makes total sense. But I appreciate it a lot. And if you want to check out my work, I am making comics because I love making comics and that's what I learned in art school. You can check them out for free in the links or a link in the description. I'm working on something, but I would appreciate that if you would like to check that out. And if you don't like comics, that's also fine. You don't have to check them out. Anyhow, now let's get started.
You know those girls that always look clean? Their skin is always glowing, their lips are always glossed, and they never ever look like they're wearing too much makeup?
I feel like this video was a very short explanation of what a clean girl actually is. And so far it is indeed not about showering, so there's that. And I was probably wrong about that. Anyhow, according to this video, there are a few requirements to being a clean girl. The first one is to always have clear skin. And I feel like that's kind of hard to achieve. You either need to be extremely lucky or very good at makeup. We all get zits and other spots all the time as humans, I feel like. And as far as I know, wearing makeup is not too good at preventing that for your skin. So it's a little bit confusing to me. I don't wear makeup at all, but I feel like that having a glowing and good looking skin all the time is very hard to achieve and maybe even impossible. And not having a perfect glowing skin all the time doesn't make you a better person or even clean in the showering meaning, I guess. But I don't think that clean girl aesthetic is about showering anymore. But still, it doesn't make you a better person. It doesn't make you worse looking or whatever. I don't know what this is about, so we need to move on. The second requirement is to always have glossy lips, which feels a lot easier than always having glowing nice skin, so that's nice. I feel like trying to prevent having flaky lips is a good thing because having flaky lips is very annoying, so maybe this is a good idea for anyone. But I also don't particularly care about what most people think about my lips. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect all the time because that's impossible. The last requirement is not wearing too much makeup. I think that kind of implies that you have to wear makeup to be considered a clean girl. Maybe you can get away with only wearing lip gloss for the glossy lips. I don't really know what this means, but that might be my problem because again, I don't really wear makeup, so I don't really know what this means. I know how makeup works. I have watched a lot of makeup tutorials because I enjoy them sometimes, but yeah, it's a confusing thing because it doesn't really mean anything. It's different per person, I would say. And only wearing lip gloss apparently only works if you already have perfect skin, which we already decided is mostly probably impossible for most people unless you can do magic. So I think that wearing not much makeup means that you don't look orange, but it can also mean no extravagant makeup looks like nice rainbow eyeliner or whatever. The cool makeup looks that I do like the most because they are expressive and artsy and I like those things. Like, I kind of find it a bit sad that a lot of people seem to feel the need to use makeup to look more perfect. In a way, I guess that for some people also that is part of expression and that's fine, but I don't like the pressure around it, if you know what I mean, in certain social circles. I think that after watching this video, I think that being a clean girl means looking sort of perfect all the time, according to a certain beauty standard, of course. And it seems to have a lot to do with being envious of how other people look with the perfect glowy skin thing. And it doesn't have a lot to do with showering so far. I personally think so far that it's impossible to adhere to those standards, but luckily there are tutorials.
A clean girl. Firstly, I'd say most importantly, but your outfit. If you don't know what to wear, always go with the sandwich method because trust me, This never fails.
Okay, this is not too inachievable and hard of an advice to follow, but I only have one pair of shoes and they're black. And I'm not always wearing a black top. I'm wearing a black top underneath this, but I'm also wearing black pants. It's a pantsuit. So anyhow, I think that most people have more than one pair of shoes. And to be honest, I do too, but the sole of one of those shoes split in half last week. So now I have only one working pair of shoes and I'm fine with that. I'm not in a rush to get new shoes because also having good shoes that are actually walkable are oftentimes crazy expensive, and that's okay. But it's not normal to have like 50 pairs of shoes for every color that you have in your closet for clothing. Maybe these people don't wear a lot of color. Also, when I was writing this in the train, I looked over and I saw two people sitting sort of across from me, and they were both wearing this sandwich outfitting. So maybe people are actually following this advice, or maybe it's just a coincidence. I don't know. It was funny to look over and see that, I guess. I don't like clothing rules a lot, but this also doesn't seem like an impossible clothing rule. And also, the creator said that it's for if you don't know what to wear and not for always necessarily. So that's nice.
You can't be a clean girl without smelling good, so always make sure that you have like your signature scent that you just wear all the time.
You have a free built-in scent as a human being. It's called body odor. Now, jokes aside, I know that not everyone likes every body odor, or like people like different body odors and dislike other ones. It's just human, so I like the existence of deodorant a lot. But having a signature scent, like having to smell like the same thing always, sounds very hard, and perfume is also quite expensive most of the times, not always. And not everyone likes every perfume, but okay, it's not actually impossible to do, I guess.
Also, something I'd really recommend is this. Basically, you keep it in your purse and you spray it under your arms, and it just keeps you smelling fresh all day long.
Oh wow, product placement. I don't know if this is meant to be an ad, but you don't need this specific thing, and I don't like that this creator makes it seem like you need this specific thing, like it's the best signature scent to have. And also, if everyone has the same signature scent, or every clean girl, which is also probably a lot of people, it's not a signature scent anymore, it's just the clean girl scent.
This one's super expensive and not everybody can do it, but always having your nails done just is the definition of clean girl.
There is a cheaper way to get your nails in one single color. It's called nail polish. A lot of stores carry nail polish that is not too expensive. I like that she recognizes that getting a manicure on the regular is too expensive for most people. But the thing that gets me here is that your nails always need to be done. That's a lot of pressure, especially if you want to be doing all of these things. And it could be nice and fun and creative to paint your nails in different designs and different colors. So why does it need to be only one solid color?
You guys know I'm so obsessed with my jewelry, and jewelry stacking elevates any outfit. This is one of my favorite stacks to wear. It's 2 snake chains and then this thin chain. Looks so good. Obviously this comes without saying, but definitely focus on your skincare. Something I'd recommend is don't use a skincare product just because it's trendy or the packaging is cute. Like for example, I literally use Cetaphil cleanser and moisturizer every single day. Obviously it's not super trendy, the packaging isn't that cute, but it works for my skin and it's what keeps my skin clear. So
I don't know if it's just me, but I find it a bit hypocritical that there's quite a lot of product placement in this video, and then to say to not use trendy products because everyone works differently. I agree with the point, skincare is nice and different skincare works for different people. However, that should go for all of these points. Everything this creator has said before this is very specific except for this point, which is very confusing.
Find what works for you. Obviously everybody talks about skincare, but something I think is just as important is hair care. When you think of a clean girl, you think of really nice, healthy hair. So really focus on your hair care routine. If you guys want, I can do a hair care video.
This hair care thing is also kind of generic. I don't really see what it means because everyone wants to care for their hair, I feel like, for most people. Like, it's not clean girl specific.
It goes without saying, minimal makeup is always the way to go, and I definitely recommend if you're new to makeup, start with cream products. I feel like cream products are a lot more forgiving. This one's one of my biggest tips, but focus on the 2 out of 3 method. If you guys don't know what this is, it's basically when you have 2 things looking good out of hair, makeup, and outfit. For example, if your hair is looking absolutely tragic that day, then focus on getting a nice outfit and then having really nice makeup. Those are all my tips. I hope this helped.
Well, I love how this creator kind of admits at the end of the video that it's impossible to look perfect all the time, and I still don't know what light makeup means or just creams mean, but that might be just my lack of makeup knowledge. I feel like there are people out there who know what this means, so that's Fair, but it still feels very vague, even though both of the creators we've seen made this point so far. And it seems to be really important to the clean girl aesthetic. This video made me feel like being a clean girl is about being perfect all the time. Just like the previous video, also according to a certain beauty standard, Western beauty standards. And it also kind of makes me feel like people are less worthy if they don't look perfect all the time. Just like the last video. It reminds me, just like in a previous video that I made, I believe it was the one about the glow up trend, but I'm not sure. About the time that when I was 12 and still in primary school, a classmate came to me and she told me that I would look better if I was wearing makeup. And I was 12 years old again. I think she had the best interests in mind, whatever that was, but it still felt really mean, and it kind of still makes me sad that it already starts the pressure of looking perfect when you're so young. And I feel like this clean girl aesthetic is just enforcing that so far.
These are some things that, in my opinion, make the clean girl aesthetic. So basically, like, whenever I think of clean girl, these are the things that I think of, and whenever I'm trying to be clean girl, this is what I do. If you don't know, clean girl aesthetic is not like how clean you are. It's basically you look clean, if that makes sense. I think the number one thing that makes a clean girl is a slick back. Whether it's a slick back bun, slick back pony, low slick, low bun. I have so many tutorials on how to do slick backs. I've been a competitive dancer for like 15 years of my life. I know what I'm talking about when it comes to slick backs.
This is the first time that I actually heard that. Is there actually a consensus about what a clean girl should look like? I am starting to doubt that.
The next thing is matching sets. I think they make you look so put together and they are so easy to do. I personally think that gold jewelry gives off more clean girl than silver. I think I'm just a little biased, but any like clean jewelry stack, clean girl. Definitely.
I don't think jewelry stacks make you look cleaner. Like, I like them, but I just disagree with this. Also, whether gold or silver jewelry, you know, jewelry is a very hard word for me to say as a Dutch person, but okay. Also, whether silver or gold jewelry fits you better depends on the undertones of your skin, and it's not a general thing.
Most people that are clean girl aesthetic usually stick to neutrals. I think the preppy aesthetic is more like bright colors and stuff like that. So this is kind of like the opposite of that. Next one is the baggy jean and small crop top combo. This can either be done clean girl or preppy, and there's like a very distinctive and fine line on what that is. This is no hate to the preppy aesthetic. I was preppy aesthetic all of high school.
It kind of sounds like the people who say I'm not homophobic, I have a gay friend. Also, I don't really know what my aesthetic in high school was, but I don't like it anymore, that's for sure. Also, why do we have to have a certain aesthetic label right now? Because it's starting to feel like that. And we have to fit the rules that are in this aesthetic, but also it changes on who you ask.
I think that thin sunglasses are really clean girl. A few different pairs that I like, all under like $10-15. So if you want me to do a video on sunglasses, I definitely will. I also think that pretty light makeup is also clean girl. Obviously, these are all just my personal opinion and things that I do. I want to achieve clean girl aesthetic. Hope this was helpful. I have so many more tips. So if you want a part 2 on how to be
Okay, I like how this creator has emphasized that this is just her opinion and you don't have to follow it. The previous videos made it seem like you have to do the things to be considered a clean girl. This clean girl thing sounds a lot like it's just a way of dressing yourself, of styling yourself, of presenting yourself, but it doesn't feel like it. The word clean in this context has a lot of implications that come with it, and in my opinion it all comes down to one thing, and that's perfection. When I try to make my art look clean, I land in a spiral of perfectionism, which limits my ability to create art more freely, which is really important to my art and to creativity in general. And I also kind of have the idea that that also happens within this clean girl aesthetic trend thing. Always having to look perfect doesn't sound very sustainable, and it doesn't sound like it makes you able to live your life freely. To me, this trend sounds very judgmental to the people who don't want to adhere to these specific clean girl aesthetic rules, and especially to the people who want to but can't for many reasons. Not to mention that the clean girls on TikTok all seem to have a slightly different idea of what a clean girl actually is. But that's with all the aesthetics we've had in the past and will have in the future. This is Edit Aiden, and I kind of wanted to add something here because I've been diving a little bit more into the clean girl aesthetic thing, and originally I just wanted this video to be about clean girl aesthetic and how it's portrayed on TikTok, but ever since then I have seen a video that, and I will link that down below also, how clean girl aesthetic and other trends going around are kind of racist in a way, but the person in the other video can explain that better than I can right now. But just so you know, that it takes a lot of things that black people did and then just erase that part and change it from ghetto, or what white people were calling ghetto aesthetic, or bullying people with essentially, and then turning it into this clean girl aesthetic thing. So it changes and then erases that part, which is bad. And also I've been thinking about it, and apart from that, over the last few, maybe even years, I've been thinking about people kind of looking the same, and it's becoming more and more apparent apparently that there are people that are looking the same. And I wanted to add something here, that I think that the clean girl aesthetic is different from, for example, emo aesthetic or goth aesthetic or other more alternative styles, in that it has so many rules in that people all have to look the same. And if you look into other subcultures, I don't want to call clean girl aesthetic a subculture, but if you look into subcultures, you can see that everyone still looks different, and there are no rules, but there are rules, but it's not so strict as this clean girl aesthetic having to do the perfect thing. So I wanted to add that to make this conclusion a little bit more complete. I think there's a lot more to it, hence I linked the video down below that you can watch from. I forgot who it's from, but I will put it on the screen, and he explains it perfectly well, and also with other aesthetics and trends going around right now. But I just wanted to focus on the clean girl aesthetic and learn what that is right now, so we can maybe in the future I can make something else that dives more into that bit of it. But it didn't feel good to end this video without saying something about this. Okay, bye. I think that the word clean is just not the right word to describe any aesthetic, because it makes it sound more judgmental and perfectionistic, and I don't like that. Because, and this is going to sound very cliche, but nobody is perfect and nobody ever will be perfect. Anyhow, that's all I had to say for today. I'm curious what you think about this, so let me know in the comments. And if you liked my little video, please press those wonderful shiny like and subscribe buttons. I would appreciate that a lot. And then I will see you next time. Ciao!